Welcome, seeker of resilience, to Unshaken Mind. Look inward, honestly, for just a moment. How many times has the red tide of anger surged within you, drowning your reason? How many days have been stolen, not by an external enemy, but by the internal tyrant of your own temper? A careless word, a perceived slight, an act of injustice, and the fortress of your composure crumbles into dust. You swore to yourself, perhaps even this morning, that today would be different. You would remain calm, centered, a master of your own domain. Yet once again, the bait was laid, and you snapped, a puppet dancing on the strings of provocation. Why is this battle so relentless? Why does a fleeting expression or a thoughtless comment have the power to ignite a wildfire in your soul? Why do you remain a slave to these fleeting passions when you were born to be their sovereign? The tragic irony is that this rage offers you nothing of value. It is a fire that consumes its own hearth. It drains your vital energy, poisons your judgment, and forces you to speak words that leave scars, both on others and on your own character. While you are consumed by this inner tempest, others, those who have mastered their internal state, remain calm. They observe, they learn, they gain the advantage. The great Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private meditations, "How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it?" He understood that the true damage is never the initial offense, but our own destructive reaction to it. As long as you are governed by impulse, you remain predictable, manipulable, and fundamentally weak. What have you lost in moments of uncontrolled anger? Share your story in the comments so we may all learn. But now, pause. Imagine a different reality. Imagine a mind so fortified that nothing external can breach its walls. Imagine criticism, betrayal, and disappointment washing over you like water on a stone, leaving you untouched, unmoved, unshaken. This is not a superpower reserved for ancient sages. It is a skill, a discipline, a birthright you can claim. In this journey we embark on today, you will discover the 12 foundational lessons of Stoicism that will empower you to reclaim your inner citadel and never again be emotionally hijacked. You will learn to diagnose and neutralize anger before it can seize control. You will understand the precise mental mechanics that allow certain individuals to navigate life's greatest storms with an unnerving tranquility. And you will learn to forge that same strength within yourself. Type "I am ready" in the comments to commit to this transformation. Be warned, this path is not for the faint of heart or for those who seek comfort in excuses. This is the warrior's path, demanding courage, relentless practice, and radical honesty with the person you see in the mirror. If you are truly prepared to dismantle the old reactive self and build a new foundation of unshakable inner peace, then stay with us until the very end. The wisdom shared here has the power to fundamentally re-engineer your experience of life. The choice, as always, is yours. Will you continue to be the servant of your emotions, or will you rise to become their master? If you are ready to claim your power, like this video now. It is a pact you make with your higher self. Subscribe and activate the notification bell, for our future lessons will arm you further on your quest to become unstoppable. Let us begin. Lesson 1. Shatter the grand delusion. The cosmos owes you nothing. At the root of almost all human anger lies a single, corrosive assumption: the belief that the world and the people in it should conform to our expectations. You believe, perhaps unconsciously, that life ought to be fair, that your good deeds should be reciprocated, that others should treat you with the respect you deserve, that your plans should unfold without friction. This, the Stoics teach, is the foundational delusion that sentences you to a life of perpetual frustration and rage. The universe is not a signatory to your personal contract of desires. It operates according to its own immense, indifferent, and often inscrutable logic, the logos. To expect it to bend to your will is to declare war on reality itself. Has this hidden expectation of fairness been a source of your suffering? Let us know below. The Roman philosopher Seneca, a man who faced political exile and eventually a death sentence with remarkable composure, advised, "A wise man is not surprised by anything." Why? Because the wise man has stripped away the veil of expectation. He understands that the universe will proceed on its own course, independent of his hopes and fears.
He does not waste his energy raging against the tide. He learns to navigate it with skill and virtue. To expect anything specific from the world, gratitude, loyalty, fairness, is to willingly place your tranquility in the hands of things you do not control. Look back on your own life. How many times has your anger been ignited not by an event itself, but by the gap between what you expected and what occurred? Commit to ending this self-imposed torture. Type, "I accept reality," to begin. You must internalize this profound truth. The world does not hurt you, but your own judgments and unrealistic expectations about the world do. It is not the betrayal that breaks you, but your expectation of unwavering loyalty. It is not the disrespect that enrages you, but your belief that you are owed respect. When you fully and truly accept that nothing is owed to you, not success, not recognition, not even basic courtesy, a profound shift occurs. You become immune to disappointment. The man who expects nothing cannot be slighted. He moves through the world with a calm mastery, for he knows his locus of control is singular and absolute. His own actions, his own judgments, his own character. What expectation has caused you the most pain in your life? Share your insight in the comments. To refuse this truth is to sentence yourself to a life of combat against an opponent that cannot lose, reality itself. The sooner you understand that no one is coming to grant you special treatment, the sooner you can redirect your vast reservoir of energy toward the only domain you truly command, your inner world. But let us be clear. Accepting this does not mean becoming a passive victim. It does not mean you tolerate injustice or fail to act. It means you no longer waste an ounce of your precious mental energy being emotionally outraged that the world is not as you wish it were. The strong man acts, he builds, he strives, he improves. He does not complain that the game is rigged. He studies the rules as they are and plays his hand with supreme excellence and virtue. Today, right now, abandon the toxic idea that life owes you something. It is a blessing, for it means you are finally free. Free to build your own strength, independent of anyone and anything. Lesson 2. The invincible mind. No one can harm you without your consent. Consider the last time someone's words inflicted a wound upon your spirit. An insult, a criticism, a harsh judgment. Now, dissect the experience with the precision of a surgeon. What was the true source of the pain? Was it the sound waves vibrating in the air, the mere arrangement of syllables? Or was it your internal interpretation, your judgment that those words had the power to diminish you? The Stoic sage Epictetus, a man who was born a slave and endured immense hardship, delivered one of history's most liberating truths. It is not things that disturb us, but our judgments about things. An insult is merely external data. It possesses no inherent power until you, and you alone, grant it entry into your inner citadel and label it as harmful. Have you ever let a simple word ruin your entire day? Confess it below. Imagine someone hurling insults at you in a language you do not understand. Would you feel the same sting of anger or shame? Of course not. The words would be meaningless noise. They would wash over you without effect, because you have not assigned them a judgment. Yet, when those same sentiments are expressed in your native tongue, you feel attacked, destabilized, and wounded. This reveals the critical truth. The wound is not inflicted by the speaker. It is self-inflicted by the listener. It is the importance you assign to their opinion, the validation you seek from them, that becomes the weapon they use against you. As long as you believe that another person's opinion can define your worth, you will remain eternally vulnerable. Type, "My mind is my own," to reclaim your sovereignty. A practicing Stoic understands this mechanism intimately. He knows that what comes from the outside, words, events, the actions of others, can only have an impact if he allows his inner governor, his hegemonikon, to assent to the impression that it is harmful. Look around you. Our modern world is a pandemic of anxiety over judgment. People live in a state of low-grade fear, constricting their actions, silencing their voices, terrified of being criticized or misunderstood. Yet, insults and judgments are nothing more than noise from the crowd. Only the one who tunes in, who gives these broadcasts his attention, allows the poison to enter his mind. You have a choice.
You can view a criticism as a personal attack, or you can view it as potentially useful data to be examined dispassionately and discarded if untrue, or used for self-improvement if true. The moment you reframe it as mere information, you reclaim absolute control. What is one piece of criticism you can now see was just noise? From this day forward, become a vigilant guardian of your mind's gate. The next time someone directs a provocation your way, do not react instinctively. Pause, breathe, observe the emotion beginning to rise. In that sacred pause, recognize that you are at a fork in the road. You can choose the well-worn path of reactive anger, thereby handing the keys to your emotional state to another person. Or you can choose the path of the Stoic, observing the provocation without assenting to it and letting it pass by like a cloud in the sky. If you wish to become unshakable, begin with this golden rule. No word, no insult, no glance can reach your inner self without your explicit permission. Deny that permission and you become invulnerable. Lesson 3. The liberation from opinion. What others think of you is none of your business. You expend a colossal amount of mental and emotional energy worrying about the opinions of others. You crave their approval, you seek their validation, you fear their judgment. In this relentless pursuit of external esteem, you surrender the one thing that is truly yours, your freedom. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world, constantly reminded himself of this folly. He wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Think of the profound absurdity in that statement. You give more weight to the fleeting thoughts of casual observers, people with their own biases, flaws, and limited understanding, than you do to your own reasoned conscience. When did you last sacrifice your own principles to please someone else? Now, ask yourself this piercing question. These people whose judgment you so deeply fear, have they built lives of exemplary virtue and wisdom? Do they embody the principles you aspire to? The vast majority of people spend their lives reacting, commenting, and judging the lives of others because it is far easier than undertaking the arduous work of building their own. Those who are truly building, creating, and striving have no time for petty judgment. Here is a powerful filter. If a person does not have the life you want, their opinion of your life is worthless. Live to impress one person and one person only, the ideal version of yourself. That is the only judgment that carries any weight. Type, I am my own judge, to affirm this principle. Remember this liberating truth. People will forget your perceived failures and embarrassments far more quickly than you will. How many events from a year ago that felt catastrophic to you at the time have completely vanished from the minds of others? You are not the main character in their story. You are a fleeting extra at best. The spotlight you imagine is shining on you is almost always a figment of your own ego. You are here on this earth for a brief time to grow, to learn, to contribute, and to cultivate your own virtue. If you hamstring your actions out of fear of what the crowd might think, you will never leave the starting line. The only person you are truly accountable to is the man you are capable of becoming. Therefore, beginning today, practice the art of sacred detachment from the opinions of others. What they think of you is a product of their mind, their experiences, their reality. It does not belong to you. It is not your problem to solve or your burden. Your problem, your sole focus, is what you think of yourself when you are alone with your thoughts. This is the metric of a life well lived. If you truly crave freedom, you must starve the toxic habit of worrying about the opinions of those who do not walk in your shoes, fight your battles, or share your ultimate destination. Whose opinion have you been valuing too highly? It's time to let it go. Lesson 4. The unbreachable wall. Let provocations shatter against you. Can a word truly injure you? Does an insult possess any physical substance or power over your being? No. It is sound, mere vibration, as ephemeral as the wind. Yet, how many times have you allowed these intangible sounds to humiliate you, to destabilize your peace, to throw you into a state of rage? The Stoics operated on a simple, unyielding principle. That which is not under my control cannot truly affect my core self, my soul. If someone criticizes you, that is merely their opinion, an external event. If you take it personally, if you feel the sting, it is you who has judged it to be significant. It is you who has opened the gate and allowed the enemy inside. Have you been letting words act as weapons against you? Picture a great stone cliff on the coast. For millennia, the ocean has hurled its most violent waves against it. The water crashes, roars, and foams, but the cliff remains. The water, in its fury, merely breaks itself apart and slides back into the sea. The cliff is unmoved. This must be your posture in the face of provocation. You must become the cliff. When an insult is thrown, do not react with the immediate, chaotic energy of the wave. Instead, embody the silent, immense strength of the rock. Observe it. Analyze it dispassionately. Breathe. The more you resist the primal urge to respond with emotion, the more powerful you become. The man who remains calm in the face of an attack completely disarms his adversary, who expects and feeds on a volatile reaction. By offering none, you starve his aggression. Type, "I am the rock," to build this inner fortitude. The great figures of history were not distracted by the jeers of the crowd. They had a mission, a purpose, a vision that was infinitely larger than the petty words of mediocre minds. Why would you, on your own quest for self-mastery, react to the insignificant noise of those who build nothing and seek only to tear down? Marcus Aurelius advised, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." Your greatest power lies not in a clever retort, but in demonstrating through your unshaken composure that their attempt to disturb you was an utter failure. This means your soul must remain impassive to external turmoil. You have a choice in every moment. Either you absorb the negativity of others, or you let it pass through you, an invisible wind that cannot find purchase. Examine the world around you. Are the people who explode at the slightest provocation respected? No.
They are seen as predictable, weak, and easily manipulated. Their emotional strings are visible for all to pull. But the one who does not react, the one who meets aggression with calm indifference, projects an aura of immense strength. He becomes an enigma, unreadable, and therefore powerful. Every provocation you encounter is not a curse. It is a training opportunity. It is a chance to strengthen your mental and emotional resilience. If the words of others still sting you today, it simply means your training is incomplete. But with each instance where you choose calm over chaos, you add another stone to your inner fortress, becoming ever more indestructible. Be the one who moves forward, imperturbable, while others exhaust themselves in pointless fury. Lesson 5. The strategist's retreat. Walk away from a fire you don't need to extinguish. You have been conditioned to believe that you must respond to every challenge, defend your honor at every turn, and prove your point in every argument. But step back and question this impulse. Is this constant engagement truly necessary, or is it a trap laid by your own ego? Seneca offered timeless wisdom on this matter. It is a great man that can hold his tongue when he is in the right. How much of your life's precious energy have you squandered in futile attempts to convince those who are committed to misunderstanding you? Sometimes the most powerful and intelligent response is no response at all. The most resounding statement is silence. Think of a recent argument you regret. Could it have been avoided by simply walking away? Certain battles are unwinnable by design and unworthy of your engagement. You cannot reason with a hurricane by shouting at it. You cannot calm a forest fire by arguing with the flames. The conflict only has power over you if you choose to enter the arena. If you refuse to participate, if you decline the invitation to chaos, the conflict withers and dies for lack of fuel. Your ego will scream for you to fight, to have the last word, to prove your righteousness. It is the ego that pushes us into these pointless wars. But true wisdom, Stoic wisdom, lies in choosing your battles with extreme prejudice. When have you won an argument but lost your peace of mind? Was it worth it? The greatest strategists in history did not engage the enemy on every front. They conserved their forces, observed the terrain, and committed their resources only when the objective was critical and the conditions were favorable. Your mental and emotional energy is your most valuable resource. Are you deploying it with strategic genius or squandering it on trivial skirmishes? Before you engage with a provocation, ask yourself a simple question. Is my tranquility worth more than winning this pointless argument?
But if you step back, create a space, and allow it a moment, you will see, Kasan, that its power crests and then inevitably recedes. It will break on the shores of your patience and dissipate on its own. Have you ever felt the power of a deliberate, strategic silence? Every second of silence you can consciously create after a provocation is a monumental victory. It is a reclamation of your mental territory. This is a practical exercise, not an abstract theory. The more you train this muscle of the sacred pause, the more natural it becomes. In a heated conflict, your deliberate silence is often more powerful, more unnerving, and more authoritative than 1,000 angry words. The next time someone provokes you, make a conscious decision. Do not speak immediately. Take one deep, slow breath. Observe the internal chaos. Watch how the other person waits, perhaps impatiently, for your expected emotional outburst. In that moment of their anticipation and your calm, you are in complete control. Type,
I will master the pause to make this your new reflex. When you learn to short-circuit your impulsive reactions, you fundamentally invert the power dynamic. The person trying to enrage you becomes frustrated by your unflappable composure. They are playing checkers while you are playing chess. You preserve your calm, your clarity, and your strategic advantage. A man in the grip of anger loses all capacity for sound judgment. He says things he does not mean, makes disastrous decisions, and exposes his vulnerabilities for all to see. But the one who knows how to slow down time, who masters the pause between stimulus and response, becomes untouchable. He imposes his own rhythm on events instead of being a victim of theirs. This is where you transition from being reactive to being strategic. For if you can master your reaction, you can master your life. Lesson 8. The alchemical fire. Transform rage into fuel, not ash. Anger is a potent energy. It is a fire that burns hot and bright within you. It agitates you, it consumes you, it demands action. With this raw energy, you are faced with a fundamental choice. Will you allow it to consume you, reducing your potential to ash? Or will you seize it, harness it, and use it as fuel to propel you forward? The Stoics did not seek to extinguish all emotion, but to understand and channel it with reason. They knew that even the most destructive passion, if properly understood and redirected by the rational mind, could be transmuted into a powerful force for good. What is one thing your anger has motivated you to change for the better? Consider the great builders, innovators, and warriors of history. They all knew anger, they all faced injustice. But instead of letting it control them, they used it as a catalyst. Seneca, in his essay on anger, calls it a brief madness, but he also understood its underlying energy. His advice, the greatest remedy for anger is delay, is not just about calming down. It's about giving yourself the time for a profound act of alchemy. In that delay, instead of stewing in impotent rage, you ask yourself the transformative question: how can I use the energy of this emotion to build, to improve, to strengthen myself? If someone disrespects you, instead of erupting, channel that energy into becoming so successful and virtuous that their opinion becomes laughably irrelevant. If you are frustrated by a situation, instead of complaining, use that frustration to fuel the disciplined action required to change it. Type, "My anger is my fuel," to commit to this alchemical process. Every ounce of anger can be a brick you use to build your empire, rather than a flame that burns down your own house. The individual who masters this transmutation, transforming the hot, chaotic energy of anger into the cold, focused fire of discipline, becomes an unstoppable force of nature. He is no longer a slave to his emotions, he uses them as tools. Unchanneled anger is a poison. It weakens your mind, clouds your judgment, and corrodes your soul. But when harnessed by reason and directed toward a worthy goal, it becomes a jet engine, propelling you toward excellence with ferocious intensity. Do not confuse inner peace with passive inaction. A Stoic is not a doormat. He does not allow the fire of emotion to rage unchecked within him, but neither does he sit idly by in the face of adversity. He performs an internal conversion. He takes the raw signal of anger, which often points to a violation of his principles or a perceived injustice, and converts that emotional energy into rational, strategic, and relentless action. From this day forward, ask yourself this question every time you feel anger rising: how can I make this energy a lever to move my world forward?
If you still find yourself disturbed by the opinions or actions of insignificant people, It means you have not yet fully claimed your mental sovereignty. But from the moment you decide that nothing futile is worthy of your reaction, you begin to build an invincible mind. Strategic indifference is not a complete detachment from the world. It is an intelligent and ruthless triage of your attention. It is the ability to discern what matters from what is merely noise. Stop wasting your life fighting shadows. That which affects you is that to which you give power. Take that power back and allocate it with the wisdom of a king. Lesson 11. The Citadel Mindset. Be a wall, not a sponge. When others around you unleash their daily torrent of anger, frustration, jealousy, and negativity, how do you respond? Do you absorb it all like a sponge, becoming heavy, saturated, and contaminated by their emotional state? Or do you allow it all to crash against you, an impenetrable wall that protects a serene landscape within? The world is endlessly broadcasting its toxicity. Every day, people will test you, provoke you, and attempt to sow seeds of doubt in your mind. But whether or not their negativity finds fertile soil is entirely up to you. You are the one who chooses to absorb or to repel. What negativity have you been absorbing lately that you need to repel? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be like the promontory against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it." This is the essence of the wall mindset. You are not required to take on the emotional burdens of others. You are not obligated to let their inner chaos become your own. Look at those who are emotionally fragile. They are sponges. An insult soaks into them. A criticism poisons them for days. A disapproving look destabilizes their entire sense of self. They are in a constant state of reaction, always being influenced by external forces. But the wise are different. They are not insensitive, but they are inaccessible to mental pollution. They can listen with empathy, but they do not allow the poison to penetrate their own minds. They stand firm, unshakable. Type "I am a wall" to declare your impermeability. To be a wall is to be impervious to negativity. It is not about ignoring the world, but about consciously filtering what you allow to enter your inner sanctum. Only that which is useful, constructive, and virtuous is granted entry. Everything else, the petty dramas, the baseless criticisms, the undirected anger, is met with a solid, impassive surface. Imagine the next time someone attempts to provoke you that their words are nothing more than waves crashing against a granite cliff. You do not need to move. You do not need to respond. You do not need to explain. You are simply there, stable, solid, present. When you truly grasp this, your perception of conflict changes entirely. You no longer feel the desperate need to convince, to explain, or to defend. You simply choose what is worthy of your energy, and the rest slides off you. A strong mind is not forged in the chaos of reaction. It is built in the deep silence of non-absorption. The more you cease reacting to external provocations, the more your internal power grows. The man who reaches this level of mastery becomes a strange and powerful anomaly in our world of hyper-reactivity. He surprises, he intrigues, he leads because he refuses to dance to the frantic rhythm imposed by others. He sets his own tempo. He follows his own path. From this day forward, stop being a sponge. Be a wall. Be the rock upon which the storms of the world break and die. Lesson 12. The ultimate freedom. To master yourself is to be truly free. We arrive at the summit. Every lesson, every principle, every ancient teaching converges on this one ultimate truth. Absolute freedom is found in self-mastery. A man who is a slave to his emotions is not a free man. He is controlled by his anger, manipulated by provocations, and imprisoned by the expectations of others. But the one who masters his inner world, who commands his own mind, is the only one who is truly free. Seneca declared it unequivocally. No man is free who is not a master of himself.
For if you cannot control your own thoughts, your own reactions, your own impulses, then you are not the one at the helm of your life. Something else is. Whose life have you been living? Your own, or one dictated by your reactions to others? Look at the world with Stoic eyes. See how many people are shackled to their emotions. They erupt in traffic. They crumble under criticism. They are led by their impulses into ruinous decisions. They live lives of quiet desperation, bounced from one emotional reaction to the next.
But this no longer has to be votre reality. You now possess la philosophie toolkit to maintain your calm, to control your energy, to choose your responses instead of suffering them. A man who masters himself is no longer dependent on the external world for his well-being. He has no need for approval, no fear of criticism, no compulsion to react to every stimulus. He moves through the world with the imperturbable grace of a planet in its orbit, guided by his own internal principles, not by the gravitational pull of the chaotic masses. What is the first step you will take today toward your own freedom? What you have learned here is not a mere intellectual exercise. It is a blueprint for living. It is a way of being that, if you apply it with relentless discipline, will forge you into a person whom nothing can break. From this day forward, let this be your guiding question. Am I choosing to be a slave to my emotions, or am I choosing to be free? The one who masters himself controls his destiny. The one who is indifferent to the opinions of others discovers a serenity that no worldly success can offer. He no longer strives to prove, to please, to react. He simply is, in control, at peace. The greatest minds and leaders of history were not the most reactive. They were the most self-possessed. They moved forward with their purpose, undistracted by the noise and fury of the world. Self-control is not a deprivation. It is the ultimate liberation. It is the pinnacle of personal power. When you reach this state, nothing and no one can stop you. Look back at the path we have just walked. 12 lessons, 12 pillars upon which you can build an unshakable mind. You have learned to shatter your illusions, to understand the true source of your anger, to master your reactions, to transform adversity into power, and to erect an impenetrable mental fortress. And now the final, most important question remains. What will you do with this knowledge? The vast majority of people will listen, nod in agreement, and then forget. They will return to their old habits, their uncontrolled emotions, their reactive lives. But you have a choice. You can let this knowledge evaporate like a pleasant dream, or you can decide right now that today everything changes. Seneca reminded us, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Think of it. How many times have you allowed words, looks, and imagined slights to dictate your inner state? How much of your life has been consumed by useless anger? All of that belongs to the past, because now you know the truth. True strength is not found in confrontation, but in composure. Do not let this transformation remain a mere intention. Apply these principles. Experiment, test them for 3 days, and witness the profound difference. When you experience for yourself that your mind can be an impenetrable fortress, you will never again consent to being a slave to your emotions. If this journey has sparked a realization within you, prove it to yourself. Like this video. It is more than a click. It is a contract with your future self. Subscribe, for here we do not offer fleeting motivation, we forge powerful minds. Activate the bell, because self-mastery is built lesson by lesson, day by day. And if you know someone who is fighting and losing the battle against their own anger, share this video.
Offer them the tools for their own liberation. The decision is yours. Continue as a victim of your emotions or seize control and become the master of your soul. Remember, the one who masters himself today commands his destiny tomorrow.